I really like this. I love the fact that I'm not allowed to talk about things. How goofy is that shit? It tells you that what we're talking about, us talking about it, is a problem. I don't ever tell people not to talk about me. Hope the bad guys, the friars, talk about me all fucking day. Because I know that if you happen to catch wind of it and you come to the feed to see what all this hubbub is, what's all this hubbub, what's all this hullabaloo, why is this guy getting so much attention, that you would have to be an absolute piece of shit to oppose me, to join the bad guys. You'd have to be a real fucking chomo piece of shit. Like, that's all it is. And I think it's pretty obvious that's what happens. But looks like they're clamping down. And this is happening like all over the place. You're seeing it everywhere. You're seeing how, like, our government, our system that's being presented to us doesn't match the people, doesn't match the story that's on the ground. And a great example is the genocide coverage. When you see the way that things are worded and the things that aren't talked about by the regular media, but then you compare it to, like, every citizen. The only people I ever see speaking on behalf of the friars in Israel are friars. And they're fucking, they sound like absolute pieces of shit, compassionless, careless, arrogant, selfish pieces of shit. I've never seen a friar being an interview, being interviewed or in some sort of talking head position that's made like fucking any sense. I haven't seen any of them that have I've been like, wow, well, that's actually a really good point. I never thought about it that way. And, like even the gypsies. Even the gypsies, I can look at it and be like, yeah, there are some issues, but all in all, I don't really see what the harm is, and people be people and all that shit. Like, I don't ever think we should outlaw gypsy life. I don't ever think we should. Now, would I want to live next to some of them? Probably not. But still, like, I don't I don't see them as a cancer like I do this one specific cult. And it's not like gypsy life bleeds into a whole bunch of other, people's lives, styles, whatever. Gypsies aren't, they might influence, fashion bullshit, which I can't imagine they do, but if they do, they might. But that's about it. Whereas, I think this cult needs to be absolutely eliminated at all costs. And like I say, you listen to the gypsies talk, and they'll even address the shit like, oh, grabbing might seem wrong to you guys, blah, blah. And then you hear it talked about. You hear like, yeah, it is kind of fucked up. No doubt, it's definitely fucked up. But like, the dressmaker broad was like, well, there's always a brother there or an uncle there or something. Nothing outrageous is going to happen. And, they at least engage in the discussion. And when they talk about their way of life and all that stuff, there are things that they say where you go, yeah, you know what? That actually kind of makes sense. I get it. At the very least, it doesn't harm anybody. So Who am I to say it's wrong? But when it comes to the friars, man, it's 100%. I don't see anything about, anything that's salvageable. And I've never seen anybody make a good point. If you have, let me know. If you can come up with a good reason why the friar cult should be accommodated, or Israel should be accommodated, or give me some reasons. I know I'm this arrogant fuck who always thinks he's right and all these other excuses that come my way. So I'm giving you this opportunity. Fucking let me have it. Tell me what I'm getting wrong. Tell me what I'm missing. Please be dumb enough to say something religious. Oh, it's the land that we promised by God in the Bible. I know. I was just letting it get hot, yo.
That's what the whistle means.
Yes, but the whistle gets louder the hotter it gets there, sassafras. And you would think it wouldn't be that religion is a bondage. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's so fucking weird, man. It really is weird. Like, you think like there's a dude up there, like I'm looking up right now, and you think there's some guy up there that watches children get molested, raped, has the power to do something about it, and chooses not to do anything. You think that guy's up there, and you're like, well, he has his reasons. Like, that's so fucking strange. And the thing is, like, you must maintain a very basic level of ignorance to be a religious person. You can't be inquisitive. You can't be intelligent. It's strange too, because, so many, like my uncle. My uncle was a really intelligent guy. Born again Christian, married an Italian woman, got into the Italian family. It was very Catholic and shit. They're the ones that used to take me to church when I would go, when I was a kid. And he's super smart guy. My brother-in-law, he grew up anti-religion, thought it was stupid, blah, blah, blah. And now, because of his Catholic wife, is Anthony Catholic? Like, does he consider himself a Catholic now?
No, he wasn't baptized.
So, I asked him one day why I thought you weren't religious. What? And he said, well, it basically comes down to a just in case kind of thing. And then he said, well, it doesn't hurt anybody. And I'm like, well, it kind of does hurt people. Maybe your own personal belief isn't directly hurting somebody, but it's your blind faith that allows the religious clergy to continue to violate children. Biggest ever fairy story, the Bible, however, not one mention of the fairies or gnomes. Yeah, it's a fairy tale for sure. It's hard to say what the biggest one is, but yeah, it's up there. And like I say, the most difficult aspect is the intelligence aspect of it, the historical aspect of it. The everything but faith aspect of it. Because that's literally the only argument that they can have. I mean, saying it's a legitimate argument is a stretch, but it's literally all they have. They can't go any further than faith because it, and that's where it's always so strange for me, especially with like what would be considered intelligent people. You're somebody that can drive and talk on the phone. You're somebody that can walk and chew gum. You're somebody that can tie your shoes. And yet you still believe in such a crazy, goofy narrative. I don't pretend not to see your comments. I choose to ignore you because you're a dumbass. Huge difference there. I don't know if you're trying to make yourself feel better or something, but hey! Do you have a ladder I can use? Cool. I'll have that for you tonight. I've literally been on a sub. Yeah, I'm sure you have. Lots of boats allow you to come check them out when they're in the harbor. It's a boat. I just find it fascinating that people, like, I really do want to talk to my lunch break guy and ask him how many people come in his feed crying because he's not talking about lunch. It's so weird. Even if this was about submarines, the fact that we're not talking about it right now, and you come into the conversation and be like, hey, talk about this instead, is just strange. And just like religion, I mean, the only way you could maintain your belief in submarines is if you refuse to look at anything. And you don't allow your common sense to kick in. My best argument for submarines not being real is you, yourself, your body. This 200-pound body that's 70% water that will float as long as I have that much air in my lungs. That's all it takes. And if I want this 200-pound body to sink, I just go and push out the air, and then my body will sink. But this little tiny pocket of air will keep my 200-pound body 70% water, large part bones and heavy shit. You throw bones in the water, the bones sink. Bones sink, I mean. But it's just another example. Like, it's crazy to me how many people at this point truly question space travel. Seriously. Seriously. Who looks at the lunar lander and believes that that thing's real? That they use that thing to land on the moon, and then they set up a camera a ways away so they could film themselves blasting back off. And not really sure how they got that camera footage. Like, when you think about what you've been shown, but to think that they flew to the moon, impossibly. There's just so many things about it that just don't make sense. Just the fact that they had to extend the atmosphere and say that now the moon is actually within the Earth's extended atmosphere. Because it created too much of a hitch, a flaw. Because if you don't have the moon within the Earth's atmosphere, then as soon as that rocket pierces the atmosphere, the Earth is supposedly traveling 67,000 miles per hour around the sun. 67,000 miles per hour, we don't have anything even close to that fast. So as soon as we sort of pierce that outer atmosphere, the Earth would be like 67,000 miles per hour. It'd be fast. And they try to tell you that it's the size, and it's not. It's a simple thing. 67,000 miles per hour is a lot. So do you think we've left this planet, or are we trapped? We are definitely trapped. We're not on a planet. Has bro heard of inertia? Yeah, it's inertia. It's inertia. Yep. That's what's causing the rocket to not leave. Like this whole idea of, if you spit outside your car, right? While you're driving at 60 miles an hour, the spit doesn't just float. It doesn't just float and sort of wait. The spit instantly just crashes down. It's like violent. Where the fuck did he put the other phone? You know where he put the other phone?
I told him to take it out of his
room. Sorry, folks. Trying to find the information phone, and I'm not very successful. It's amazing with a desperate heart, a desperate heart. Wow.
I missed the ball.
All right. Let's get the actual definition of inertia, because I don't want to get it wrong. Inertia is the natural tendency of objects in motion to stay in motion and objects at rest to stay at rest unless a force causes its velocity to change. Right. So again, that idea that like we're going at the same speed. So even think about it like this. So say we are going. So we're going at the same speed because blah blah inertia. Supposedly they flew to the moon, flew around the moon a couple times, and then flew back. What, all because of inertia? That's how that works? And again, the best, sort of the best thing is the idea that the footage of the lunar lander taking off. How did the lunar lander take off? And it's so stupid. It and it flies up. Like, it really is stupid when you think about the tech we were supposed to have, or we were supposed to have at the time. And then maybe it asks the questions like, are we just way more advanced than they told us we were? Because, they say that the computing power aboard the lunar lander was less than today's calculator. Yeah, well, you're either in space, in a gravityless space, in a vacuum of space, or you're not. And Balls Out Physics with Brian Mullen really did a fantastic job of proving why that's impossible. You can't have thrust in a vacuum. Did you guys see the thing where Brian Mullen responded to me? See if I can find that. The fact that Brian Mullen came out of hiding and responded to me, but Brian Mullen coming out of hiding itself wasn't enough. Like, didn't make everybody fucking lose their shit. Everybody wasn't like, holy fuck, there he is. Let's see. Why is my video not coming up? That's strange. It always pisses me off when these type of things happen, because it's like, how is somebody supposed to achieve anything if you're censored to bejesus and back? Belch. The fact that my video is not one to pop up here. What's up, little stinker? Boo! I scared you. What are you doing? You're so silly. Did you just take your brother to school?
My dad is here.
Yeah, well, you should go hang out with your dad. He probably likes to hang out with you, doesn't he? Bye. So, let's see. Here's the Brian Mullen video that none of you have
Hey
seen.
there, everyone on the internet. This is Brian Mullen. You might remember me from about 6 years ago or so. I took my channel down. I know there's been a lot of theories about what happened to me, but the reality is it's not that exciting. I was
It makes no sense. His narrative makes no sense. He got himself to a point where he made a GoFundMe that was trying to raise like $120,000 and ended up raising a whole bunch more than that. And he didn't even collect it all. He just took off. Like, if you don't know the Brian Mullen story, it's just not a very believable one, right? It's so hard to wrap your head around.
a bad marriage, and I went through an even worse divorce.
That's not what happened. Had nothing to do with it. Like, this is what I'm saying. He's lying. And he has some handler off to his side that won't show her face, but is telling him what to
I know
say.
there's been a lot of theories about what happened to me, but the reality is it's not that exciting. I was in a bad marriage, and I went through an even worse divorce. And so I decided to take my channel down so I could focus on my life and try to deal with all that. And that's what happened. There's really not anything more than that. I know that people suspect that I was threatened at work, or that, I don't know, people were pressuring me, government was pressuring me, whatever. None of that happened. So
Of course not.
That's it. And I've considered making videos again, but at the same time, like, this stuff, the silliness about what
This silliness. So this guy makes videos about a really taboo subject that end up, it goes further than I think they had planned on it going. He had more popularity than I think they thought. But without any sort of warning or any sort of acknowledgement, he just rips everything down and disappears. and his audience, the family that's created around this thing, especially in this realm where we know that they kill people like us. You get big enough, they kill you. So for people to be concerned about him and his well-being and what happened to him is not silliness, or, you know, we're not the negative. This is how this works, right? We're not the ones that are wrong here for questioning what the fuck happened to you, dude. So let me just back it up. So it was maybe 2017. No, it had to be 2016. 2016. I had sort of stumbled into the earth shape argument. And one day, Balls Out Physics pops up, and I check it out. And for me, it's the most refreshing, you know, it's something I can get behind because there's no religious bullshit. This guy is an engineer. He's a structural engineer or some shit. And he is tackling this problem from a scientific point of view. And he even said he initially started doing this to disprove it. He thought he could prove, you know, all you flat earthers are stupid. So he puts out Balls Out Physics 1, 2, and 3, and each one of them only have like 20,000 views when I first stumble across them. And so I reached out to him on Facebook. His channel still didn't have like he wasn't a thing yet. He just wasn't a big name yet. But he had put out these videos, and the only thing that showed of his was Balls Out Physics 1, 2, and 3, and then somehow he was on the Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes podcast with a friar broad. She's a friar. You know, within that time frame. So like he put those videos out in like September, October, and by November he was doing her show. And I knew who she was because I sent her the Under the Dome song and she liked it. So I had already had like a previous sort of engagement with her that there was already a connection made. So I watched Balls Out 1, 2, and 3, and this is in like January of maybe 17 at this point. It's either 17 or 16, I don't remember. It's the year that he disappears, because all of this takes place in less than a year. But I reach out to him, I don't hear anything from him. And after like a week, I'm like, it's kind of weird. Like, this guy has made these 3 videos that are really starting to take off. And, you know, he's got this weird Facebook page that from like an outside perspective, from a glance, his Facebook page would seem legit. You know, it had, you know, a picture of him supposedly at work, a picture of him, you know, on a 4-wheeler, you know, a picture with his mom and dad or whatever. Like, it was real basic. What's up, baby maker? But these were really just amazing videos. And so I reach out to the host of the Flat Earth podcast, and I'm like, you know, isn't it kind of weird? Brian's disappeared. Have you heard from him? Do you know any? And this was a real, like, sort of signal, right? But she was like, oh no, I'm sure it's nothing to worry about. You know, nothing to worry about. This guy's only disappeared, nothing to worry about. And within like a day or two, he accepts my friend request and like a dialogue begins. You know, and him and I talked several times, you know, this, that, and the other. But he then puts out Balls Out Physics 3.1, or maybe it's 4. I don't remember what the numbering was. But after he's been gone, he comes back and he puts out this video where at the end of it, he now starts saying, you know, and I think all the answers we need are in this book. And he pulls up the Bible. And I'm like, what the fuck is what? Where the fuck did this just come from? Right? He suddenly starts being Charlie Church a little bit. And he puts out a few more videos. And, you know, him and I chat sporadically. At one point, I even say to him, like, hey, have you ever noticed that the cameras are always facing down? You never see a camera facing up on the rocket. How come we've never seen the camera go from blue to black? Belch. And he was like, oh, that's a really great point. I was like, yeah, you know, there you go. And the next video he made, he actually mentions that fact, but he doesn't even give me like the heads up. Like, he didn't even say, hey, I was talking to this guy, he made this cool song you might want to check out. But he said this, like, that's how this community works. That's how this community grows. You scratch each other's backs and shit. And I was kind of pissed, and I reached out and I'm like, hey, dude, what the fuck? You're not even going to give the heads up? You're not going to help out a fellow, you know, warrior in this bullshit? And at the same time, I'm like, and what's up with the Bible stuff, man? How can you be smart enough to question everything but the Bible? And of course, that's the last time him and I chat. And so his videos start getting weirder and weirder. He meets this broad who has a kid who he supposedly moves to South Carolina, up on a mountain in South Carolina, and growing out his hair, and you know, it's just an interesting, you know, transition where this guy starts becoming like somebody else. And then he disappears again, and it's like a month or so, maybe 2. And suddenly he reappears, and he's all shaved, and his hair's cut, and he's in a button-up shirt. And it's this commercial for this Force the Line experiment he's created. And the Force the Line experiment was basically like he created a ride where you could in real time, you know, it was a bunch of poles set up, you know, a given distance apart from each other along one line, or there, you know, and then the line, there's 2 lines parallel to the ground. One line was going to be the Force the Line one, where they would measure, you know, X amount of feet from the ground to this a point, and measure it exactly on each rail. And maybe this goes for like 2-3 miles, where the exact same measurement, say it's 30 feet, is taken on each one, and then they connect a bar across that one. And then there's another one that is, you know, just a straight line. They make it as straight as they can. I don't remember the details, but it was basically, it would prove one way or the other if there was some sort of curvature. It was an actual, like, doable, feasible thing that doesn't matter what side of the argument you're on. You know, if you're on the flat earth side, then you want this because it's going to prove you right. And if you're on the round earth side, you want it because it's going to prove you right. Like, this was a way to finally do it. And he puts out the GoFundMe, and, you know, again, it's got like $100,000 goal, but in 3-4 days, it raises like twice that much. And then suddenly he just disappears. And for a while, there was actually a pretty big effort to try to figure out what was going on because, you know, again, when you're the ones being ostracized, it sort of creates this family dynamic where, you know, we're all going to protect each other like they protect themselves. And so, you know, there's all this effort to try to get him to just prove he's alive. You know, that's all people want. Hey, man, if you're going through some shit, go through some shit. That's, you know, everybody does. But, you know, we just want to know if you're alive. You were skating on, you know, dangerous thin ice with what you were doing. So, you know, we just want to know, you know, are you okay? And there were multiple points where, like, he was offered, somebody said they would transfer $5,000 into his account if he would just take a picture of himself holding up the date that, you know, today's newspaper. And I think it even got pushed up to 10 grand. And so, like, you know, one picture came out where it was supposedly him and his girl and her kid were at this gala or something. It was just one picture came out. And they're like posing, but almost immediately the internet does what it does, and the picture doesn't stand up to scrutiny. There's obvious edits, there's obvious little bits that just don't quite make sense. You know, his hand couldn't possibly be in that position. Like, there's just weird things that just don't add up. And at the same time, there are like a few different people who are, you know, oh yeah, I talked to him and he's this, that, and the other, and he says he's going to show up to this event. Don't worry, everybody, he's just going through some shit. He's going to stand up to he's going to. And initially, the excuse given by one of those people was that for some reason, his new wife didn't support him. I mean, this man is literally changing the world. Literally. This man was going to go down in the annals of history forever as the guy who either proved one way or another. Like, this is potentially a really big, monumentous sort of occasion. This man was like really special. What female is going to say, I don't want you to fulfill your potential? You're right there. You're right on the brink of making us extremely wealthy by, you know, this ride that's being created, along with, you know, you're this guy that's going to change the world. Like, it just doesn't make any sense as to he pulled everything down because his wife said to. And so he was supposed to show up at some gathering. Gathering comes and goes. He doesn't show. And as always, we just sort of move on. Well, you guys sort of move. I didn't. It was like a year later that I really started sort of looking into it. And I did this whole video all about it and found out, like, the only evidence of his existence was as this engineer for this company called Arteen, Areteen, like Airte Engineers. But it's Arteen for some reason. It's really weird, but apparently he has a engineer profile on this website. And again, this website is made to look a certain way. And back in, you know, 17, 18, the website had a lot more credibility because, you know, it was the stories and the information on that website were at least semi-relevant because they were from 15, 16, maybe even 17. But it was just strange because, again, it's like this well put together website for most morons to think it's a legit thing. But when you really start peeling back the layers and you realize, like, of course, it's run by a friar. The main person is a friar and his wife. And the company phone number is his cell phone number. When you call the phone, it goes directly to his cell phone. The David of Airtime Engineers, of course he's David, maybe David, or I don't remember, but I think it's David. But it goes straight to a voicemail, and it's just like, you're a government contracted engineering company. Like, you supposedly do all these big time government contracts. You're telling me you don't have an answering service? You don't have a secretary? You don't have any sort of, like, if anybody wants to call this company, none of the people listed have phone numbers, have email addresses, none of the different engineers. It all just goes through this one dude's cell phone? That just doesn't, that's not how it works. That's not how government contracted companies work. And so I did my thing, whatever. Well, back in 2023, I decided to do it again. Look into Brian Mullen again. And get out of here, B. Get out of here, B. And when I did, the first thing I noticed is that it had been multiple years since I had been there, and yet the website hadn't changed. Everything was the exact same. No updated stories, nothing. Maybe there was one thing from like 2020 or something, but just next to nothing. It was very strange. And so I call the number and I leave a message talking about, just looking for information on Brian Mullen, blah, blah, blah. Like, let's see if I can find it. I gotta find this. I gotta find it. I'm surprised my video doesn't come up, and for some reason I can't adjust the settings on this. Why isn't it not letting me adjust the search criteria here? Where is Brian? Search filters, there we go. All right, upload. Let's go upload date. So that's really weird. All right, so okay, so well, let's see. So if you put in where in Brian Mullen, you'll see my videos come up. And if you do it by upload date, you'll see that I did the Where is Brian Mullen video streamed 2 years ago, right? There was no Brian Mullen shit prior to, right? So I do this big hour 35 minute Where's Brian Mullen? And actually, this page called Shank the Globe clips my video. And this is a company. Thank you for calling this company. I'm calling them.
Hello, this is Sean with ART Engineers. Please leave a message.
Sean, sorry.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up.
This is an engineering firm. I mean, can you imagine, like, you're calling about some sort of engineering product or project, and you go to this website, and you see it, and you go, okay, I'm gonna call this company to see if I can't schedule some business with them. And you call, and it rings once, and it goes to a voicemail. It says, "Hi, this is Sean with ART Engineers. Please leave a message." Would you think anything, like, would you think that's a good company? No.
Or press 1 for more options.
What kind of company has a, I guess, voicemail? Is that voicemail? It sounds like an answering machine. No, it's actually voicemail, I guess, with the way it works. But what kind of company has
The Bible is for
as
stupid
their
people.
voicemail message? That's not that's like a personal thing. And it happens to be the number one guy's personal. That's just weird. Almost like it's to cover up for Brian Mullen. But what do I know? I'm just crazy. Crazy. So there, I just left that message, right? So that message was about 45 seconds or so. 30, 40 seconds. Now, how long does it take the person on the other side to get the voicemail notification, call the voicemail, listen to the voicemail, and then call a superior and say, "Hey, I just got this call. What do I do?" Okay, so see what happens. So now this time, instead of ringing 2 or 3 times like it did the first time, it rang once. I know it's Saturday. I get that it's Saturday, so, but like this is a multi-million-dollar engineering firm that deals in bridges, and if you believe it, I have a bridge to sell you in Manhattan. Funny that works, huh? Boy, is that strange. Boy, is that coincidentally strange. I could have been, it's so interesting how often this happens, where I could be wrong. It's not like I check it out beforehand, and I put, my reputation on the line. I could look like... Okay, so now it's been a little over a minute. So if there's the immediate response to where you call and you listen to the message, you've listened to the 30, 40-second message by now, and now you've called a superior and asked what to do. What do I do about this? Total dumbass if something else happens. But what ends up happening actually adds to my story. Multi-million-dollar company has a voicemail for one particular dude, the dude at the top, the super chosen guy.
That's totally
is
normal.
that just crazy? And again, every single one of these people, the newest one started in 2021, so that seems like that may be the last time they updated it. But not everybody but that one guy hadn't done anything in that company since 2018 worth noting. And even then, it wasn't like they were doing much. Projects. Let's see. Oh, it is. He's calling me back.
So here we go. So
He's calling back. So it took about 2 minutes for him to call me back. Okay, and this is what the exchange is.
Hello, this is Sean with Airtake. Sorry, I missed a call from me.
I'm just wondering why this multi-million-dollar company would have a voicemail that goes straight to one guy. That seems weird, doesn't it? There's no answering service or anything?
Well, I appreciate that you think we're a multi-million-dollar company.
You would be if you're...
What is this in regards to? What are you calling about?
Well, I was investigating where Brian Mullen is because there's a lot of people that are concerned about him. And
Brian Mullen was abducted by aliens.
see, of course you can make jokes about it because you
Yeah.
don't have anything else to say. Ha ha. Ha ha. Then he hangs up. I mean, just think about that. Just think you want to, like, let's say he's being bothered, right? Let's say it's a big, so many people keep calling him and bugging him and, oh, he's so upset. Although it doesn't seem like he's, that's happening. But let's just say that is what's happening. Why wouldn't he have just said, yeah, there are, every once in a while we get a phone call like this. Brian just wanted to get out of the spotlight, man. He had a family. He had some shit he was going through, and he just wanted out of the spotlight. He just wants a little bit of privacy. He made a mistake. He didn't realize what was going to happen if he did these, so he just wanted out of the loop. And he just say it kind of like matter of fact, like that's just what it is, man. That would be the proper sort of response. Especially if you don't want people to keep calling you. You don't want, you don't want the interference, the burden of it. And just think if they're really getting called that much and it's that much of an issue, why would they even hire him? And when you look at the hire dates and you look at the narrative that's presented in that, it just doesn't make sense. He wasn't working at this place when he was making these videos. And yet it says he was somehow. Like, it's really a fucked up thing, right? So this is the guy, that's Sean from Airtake. He looks very chosen, doesn't he? But he's the guy that says, instead of, squashing it, he stokes the fire. Brian was abducted by aliens. And then he hangs up. When I say, of course you're going to say that because you have nothing real to say. And then he hangs up. If that's not going to make people call, if that's not going to make people think something is going on more, like, what do you think? Like, they're really, what could he have said otherwise? Fuck you, Brian's not doing, we don't let anybody, like, other than being super extreme. And see, when you know how the friars work, that's what they do. They try to make a joke out of it. They try to make a mockery out of it instead of answering, oh, he was abducted by aliens. Nobody ever said he was abducted by aliens. The one thing people did say was that, did he get killed by the government? Was he silenced by the system? To say that is just strange. Oh, that's great. That is great. So I texted him. You just made my live video. Video absolutely worth it. Exclamation point. Thank you for proving the point. Period. Not only did you just prove that the company is a fraud, but you are as well. And
so is Brian.
Everybody's right. Period. Okay, so this video came out literally like right after mine. Like somebody else that was interested in Brian came out right after mine, right? Within a day or two, it was either a day or the next day, all of a sudden Brian shows up. You can see that all of a sudden he just pops up. And this is literally, I think it's either later that day or the next day that suddenly Brian puts out this video. So you heard the first part of it. We're going to hear the rest of it now.
Suspect that I was threatened at work, or that, I don't know, people were pressuring me, government was pressuring me, whatever. None of that happened. So that's it. And I've considered making videos again, but at the same time, like, this stuff, the silliness about what happened to me is kind of annoying, and people are trying to contact me. And obviously, if I took my channel down, I didn't want to be contacted. And people still try to go around that and get to me through other means, which is frustrating. So please stop. I'm fine. I'm very happy. I have my beautiful wife sitting right here next to me.
So he had gotten married, gotten divorced, and now he's married again. And when he's saying going around that to try to contact me, please stop, he's talking to me. It's in response to me. This is literally the same day or the next day that this happened.
She's not going to show, I guess, but
Of course she's not.
she is real. Her name is Lindsay, and she's wonderful.
They don't care about me, they care about you.
Well, yeah, but I mean, people don't think it's real, so, you know. So yeah, that's it.
Tell them to stop being paranoid and weirdos.
Stop being paranoid and weirdos because people care about your husband's well-being. Nobody's trying to hit him up for like, hey, give me this or do that. Like, people just want to know that this man is alive because he made such an incredible impact on them. And then he disappeared without a trace. That makes people paranoid and weirdos. Now watch what he says.
Yeah, please stop being paranoid and being weird, because it's not necessary.
It makes you not want to start a new channel,
Yes.
right?
It makes me not want to start a new
It
channel.
makes me not want to do this, because it's just silliness, and I mean, it hurts the truth too. I mean, just somebody disappears and you come up with all these theories, and it just makes everything look crazy.
Somebody disappears, so you come up with these theories and it makes things look crazy. Can you imagine if Brian Mullen at the time would have just said, hey guys, I'm actually going to be going through a lot right now. I got a lot going on. Nothing's wrong. I just want to let everybody know I'm going to be taking a couple of months off to just get my shit in order. And, you know, it's bigger than what you guys might think. You know, it's nothing sinister. I just got personal stuff going on. And I'd appreciate some privacy. Everybody, I'm okay. I just want you to know. Wouldn't that have been so much easier to do? Doesn't it hurt the truth when somebody disappears and doesn't say anything and then chastises those who question things and you know, like, just think about it.
So, yeah.
Look at him, looking for approval.
That's all we got.
Okay.
Oh.
That was the next day. And then you have me, Brian Mullen's latest new video is in response to me. Maybe I'll even... Morning, afternoon, whatever it is. So, and my phone doesn't have the largest battery. This is back when I'm getting 32 views. This video because, listen, my last video, I expose where a guy, like a huge guy in the Earth shape argument circle, like, this guy disappeared. The fact that the video of him coming back and has only a couple hundred views on it, it just doesn't make any sense. Brian Mullen, if you watch any Earth shape argument video, there's a good chance there'll be a clip from one of Brian Mullen's Balls Out Physics videos. you know, he was a big part of this, and he made a lot of really great points in his videos, and he, you know, before he went all Charlie Church about things, it was, you know, something that everybody could get behind because he was just coming at it from a logical, intelligent point of view. Oh, if you go to my videos and you look up the last video titled "Where is Brian Mullen?" worked. It's kind of a weird feeling. Like it's strange, and it's strange to see that Brian Mullen video. This must be right around today when this happened. Like I must be channeling the same energy or something, because the "Where was Brian Mullen" video says it was from 2 years ago, where this is my next video and it's from 1 year ago. So it must be tomorrow that the video will click over to 2 years. That's really fucking strange. That came out, only came out, seemingly came out either later on in the day on the video I made, or within a day or two of it. Because according to YouTube, if you type in "Where is Brian Mullen" in YouTube, it's going to pop up a few different videos. If you switch to by upload date, you'll see that there are two videos. One that says, you know, Brian Mullen, "Where's Brian Mullen? Case closed." It's the same video released by two different people. Strangely enough, and that would happen to me too. Surprisingly, two people released the same videos. Doesn't have thousands of views. I don't understand it at all. It seems to me like it's a deep fake. But again, what do I know? Except I know a lot. That's what's strange. So if you look, you'll see that Brian, the two videos, the one video that came out, literally came out right after mine. If you do it. That's the thing about YouTube, is because of the algorithm, there's no way to fake this. If you do it by upload date, you'll see that my video came out and then his came out right after that. There were no videos in between, anybody talking about Brian Mullen, yada, yada, yada. And this is how it's going to be forever. I mean, unless they go in and like really do fuck shit up on the inside. But this is how this proof is here. It's in the code. And all it takes is somebody, you know, to look at it and, like, you know, understand what you're looking at, understand how the system works. If you do it by date, mine can't be, you know, after his. Nothing else will get uploaded that will fit in between those. It's obvious what it is. Those two will be in. But his latest video, it's a 2-minute video where he's supposed to watch the video, because the video, you can see the effort that I put in. You know, I break the whole story of what happened with him and how we got to that point to begin with. And the fact that he, you know, like I say, did he take the money and run? What happened with the GoFundMe account? Did he just bail? I mean, you know, there's lots of things in this situation, but to then think, like, why does the first video Brian Mullen put out in 6 years? I think this was exactly today when this thing happened 2 years ago. I think I just happened to get that signal today. Out the day I make my video, and for some reason it has zero fanfare. How does it have zero fanfare? How come nobody's seen that video? Did Homeland... Like, why wouldn't you just say that? So then... you have this next video. Hopefully you guys come back, whoever was there before comes. I mean, it's really an important, you know, whatever it may be, and then it doesn't work out. You're like, fuck, man. He wasn't hiding behind big words that you know, oh, well, it's the effect. And people are like, what the fuck is that? Oh, well, it happens to exactly answer the question that you're asking, but we can't prove it with any sort of experiment or evidence. But it answers your question. It's a magical, like gravity.
This
It's
guy's
this
fucking
magical
smart.
force that holds their whole argument together but doesn't make any sense. Within hours, I don't know the exact day because it doesn't tell you what exact day this video came out. Within hours, this man makes this response video. He has. So then, more Brian Mullen stuff. Since Facebook censors the fuck out of me, it says. Let's see. Of bridge and toll facility expansions in the Central Florida area. This is I could have sworn. Nah. This is another video where I break it down. So what's also interesting, I wonder if quickly change directions to focus. This one is FEMA permitting study for bridge replacement. And we have January 19th, 2023. Why invest? Yeah, break it all down, right? The other thing that's crazy is the very next day, the Airte engineer page is updated. And the like main, so that it's a website, and the picture that's on the back or in the background that all the shit scrolls over is actually a picture of Brian. It's a picture of Brian and two other guys like in a thing surveying something or whatever. The day after all this shit goes down, they changed their fucking website. And then I start getting like death threats and all this other shit. Like it was really crazy. Don't know if you guys are aware of what's been going on. If you go check out my videos from the past few days, you'll see what's been so to me, and I'm sure a lot of people in the conspiracy world didn't know that Brian Mullen put a video out about 3 months ago. Which, if you go back into my videos and you look at you look up maybe 5 videos ago, you'll see the first "Where is Brian Mullen" video. So what ends up happening is in that video, if you skip to the 50-minute mark, you'll see, hello person, if you're watching, share the video. You see me call Airte engineers, which is where Brian Mullen supposedly works. Let's see, find it again. It's ARETEENGIN. There it is. It's rteengineers.com. Phone number is 828-434-0587. I can't leave comments. Phone number is 828-434-0587. Call it. I can't leave comments on here, can I? I don't know how eBay works, but I'm not big with this. Or I mean, YouTube works real well. I don't know how this shit works. Does it allow me to share it while talking to you guys? I don't know. Anyway, not gonna bother. Artine, Arte Engineers. So I've been calling it Artine. So, this website of theirs has been the exact same for many, many, many years. If you're familiar with the Brian Mullen story, you can attest to the fact that the website has stayed the exact same, right? 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I'm not sure why, but I decided to look up my Brian Mullen video. That's what I was looking for. And when I did it, to my surprise, a video of Brian Mullins popped up. Of Brian Mullins, not Mullen. Like, yeah. Not right now. In a minute. Like Mullins in the. What? Of course. Okay, well. Yeah. Time restart. It pauses. This page has been the same for years and years and years, and I've seen it for years. And 3 months ago, I did that expose, and yesterday, or the other day, I noticed that Brian Mullen put out this video that's very arrogant. It kind of doesn't look like him. It kind of does. It kind of doesn't. There's actually two. Brian Mullen hasn't been anywhere or done anything in 6 years. Suddenly, this page called Shank the Globe has 2 videos of Brian. One of him with and they both came out around the same day. They're him with a really long beard. One has him with a really long beard, looking emaciated, looking like pretty almost, just emaciated, looking bad. He looked bad. And then the next video was this what appears to be a response to my video, where I called his boss and I asked about him, and his boss told me that he had been abducted by aliens, and then hung up on me. Again, that's Sean at Arte Engineers, 828-434-0587. And so within a day or two, or even the same day that I make my video, I don't know that. I know that my video came first because it's when I put the videos in order, that response video, the first video in 6 years to come out with Brian saying, "Hey guys, I'm Brian. I think it's silly that people were looking for me, and it hurts the truth because somebody disappears and you just come up with crazy theories, and stop being weirdos and paranoid," and just this really insulting video. But that video came out either the same day my video did, later on in the day, or within a couple days. And you have to, if you watch my video, you can clearly see he's talking to me. Come on, Nick. And the emaciated video is an old video. Fair, he's not going to. When you break down what the video says, it's really dumb. It really just, it sounds like a government sort of hush video, right? Like they're gonna cover all the, and then they have his handler on the side of him telling him what to say when the Majin Buu power.
Here we go.
But that's not the weird part. The weird part is that I've been getting, well, that's not the only weird part. The weird part is today I go to Airtay Engineers and now the profile picture has changed and it features Brian with an M on his head. He's got the Majin Buu power.
I didn't forget about that.
The page that hasn't
M for
changed
Mason.
in years and years and years suddenly has a Brian Mullen image on the front. And it's something to combat how I keep saying it's Arteen. They've added providing structural engineering services to bridge, commercial, and residential sectors. Arte, Air, I, Te, excellence and virtue. I'll just say this real quick. A-R-T, R-E-T-E, Hebrew. Excellence as modesty, purity. R-E-T-E, Hebrew. A virtuous course of thought, feeling, or action. Virtue and moral goodness, any particular moral excellence as modesty, purity, part of speech, noun, feminine. That's not the Hebrew version. Arte meaning Bible study, New Testament, Greek lexicon. Te, what the Bible says about Erte. That is pretty funny. Erte is a concept in ancient Greek thought that, in its most basic sense, refers to excellence of any kind, especially in a person or things. Oh, look, in Mullen, in Erte. Oh, look, we got up to three. Family will suffer, and that they've already killed my mother, being death threats, telling me that if I don't stop talking about Brian Mullen and Erte, that not only will I be sorry, but my family will suffer, and that they've already killed my mother and grandmother, so they're going to take my family next. That's what they're saying. It'd be scarier if my grandmother wasn't like 93 or some shit when she died. So she was old. She didn't, nothing special. My mother, on the other hand, that was a weird one, but I sort of think she killed herself and it got covered up, so, you know, that's not really accurate. But it makes you wonder, like, so it's either some weirdo is really putting themselves in a dangerous position because that shit's illegal. Like, you can't do that shit. You get in some serious trouble. So some random person that's been obsessed with me for many, many years, and this is the best case scenario, I guess, like, right? Because that's what most people are gonna think, or try to tell themselves, is that it's just some random guy who has multiple accounts and manipulates Facebook more than anybody. And the thing is, it's like the average person's really dumb. The average person doesn't read the news. They don't know that the Israeli cybersecurity apparatus chief, former chief of the Israeli cybersecurity apparatus, flat out admitted that they control Facebook when they have their system set up to flag any sort of profile. Look, we have a please take your meds. Yep. We have the typical friar, Israeli talking point. Like even this isn't even about them at the moment. Not directly, at least. And yet they're still mad. So me talking about Brian Mullen is a bad thing. To who? Other than this super, friar system that knows exactly, they know all the different pieces of this and they know how dangerous it all is. this kind of shit gets exposed, then it's a domino. It's gonna lead to the rest of them falling. Palestinian or anti-Israel stuff. When they find it, they take it to Facebook. They contact Facebook. I don't know how you contact Facebook. I don't even know how Facebook hires people. There's no place that you can find that shows you how to contact Facebook. Maybe there is. I just couldn't find it. I'm not very computer smart though, so who knows. But somehow they're contacting Facebook, and within 24 hours, as he said, they can usually get Facebook will usually comply to the request. Israel controls Facebook. If you're dumb enough to think that we're giving Facebook for free, Facebook has 2.9 billion users worldwide. They could charge you $1 per month onto your phone bill so you never even know it. $1 per month, and they could make 2.9 billion extra dollars, yes. And now, so that was my last real video, I think, on the subject. No. I think I did another one about a year ago. But just the whole narrative itself is like, I could tell you a story that you're either not gonna believe because you haven't heard anything like it, or you're gonna be like, holy shit, that's crazy. But there is no feeling about it. You don't hear about everything that happened and how this whole thing went down and think, oh, that's totally normal. My cousin Billy had the same thing happen to him. When, it's just not how it works. And the Brian Mullen story is it's so out there, and it's been so influential on people. And you would think, like, if they knew all of it, like, it would be a big deal. It would be a big deal. Blaming Jews for your own problems. Yes, you hear me talking about how in my life this, in my life that, it's all the piece of shit friar fault. No, I blame the friars for the genocide that they commit. I blame the friars for all the molestation and child rape they're so consistently accused of doing to our kids, to us, let alone the shit they do to their own kids, which is just astronaut. Like, how the fuck could you ever even do something like that? But it's very commonplace to have ritualistic sexual abuse in Israel. Like, it's a really, really, really common thing. And then there's the whole slavery aspect and all that. It has nothing to do with my own personal shit. But see, this is the talking points, right? This is the shit that they can come up with. Because they can't address anything. He's not going to sit here and try to justify why Matitza Bapé is okay. He can't. He's a dumb piece of shit. He knows he is. He knows he has nothing to bring. Joined 10 years ago with 1 subscriber. Right. He knows what awful, awful, disgusting human beings these are, and what a horrendous cult that he's a part of. But he's not going to say anything about it because he can't. He's going to try to make me look bad. It's the take your meds thing. It's the provided talking points. They're never provided talking points about why being a friar is a good thing. For, why friarism is a good thing for the rest of us. I mean, I get why they want it, to a degree, I should say. Personally, I can't imagine, like, I belong to this cult and I learn that this cult is all about ritualistic child sexual abuse, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna still belong to the cult because I want the advantages that come with it. Who the fuck thinks that way? You have to be a monster to think that way. You're just as bad as the people abusing if you're somebody that knows about it and turns a blind eye. You know, these are just horrendous, disgusting people. These are Trump supporters, you know. These are these pedophiles that are willing to overlook horrible shit, and you just have to ask yourself who that is. You know, in your real life, if you found out that somebody was even slightly associated with pedophilia, would they still be your friend? You know, would you overlook it for your friend? Maybe you would. You know, I don't know. I know I couldn't. I find out that you're some sort of pedo, and I'm going to call the police on you myself. And the best thing is about this argument is a huge piece of evidence is the Bottom of Darkness article, which is their article on their newspaper or on their website. Israel Hayom, Hayom. Search Israel Hayom, Bottom of Darkness. You know, all of the editors, all of the writers, all the photographers, everything about that whole thing is Friar. So you can't say it's just some goyim being anti-Semitic. It just doesn't work. The Clintons, bro. What about the Clintons? You have Trump in office and you want to talk about a president from, 6 years ago or 5, 6 presidents ago? No, I'm going to talk about the guy that's in office right now. The Israeli puppet doing everything he can to strengthen Israel and take away our rights. It's so shocking how so many American, oh look, go figure. Cody is a pedo, is going to post the pedo slogan. You say Trump supporters are pedos, and Cody's like, I'm a Trump supporter. You see what I mean? He doesn't say that's not true. He doesn't say, oh, Trump's done such good things. This is this, doesn't list them off. You point out that Trump supporters are pedos, and this guy fucking raises his hand. You underestimate how many of the people up and down your street, at the very least, have fucking nasty pictures on their phone or a search history they wouldn't want you to see. But these fuckers are everywhere. That's why Trump still has so much support. Because it takes a pedo to overlook pedophilia. If they were to condemn Trump for what he's done, you know, that would make them feel pretty guilty. They would have to account for what they've done, what they think, who they are as I hate saying people, but people. They were okay with Trump representing racism, sexism, homophobia. They were okay with that. They might not have been like openly admitting that they're homophobic, sexist, racist. But it was something that if it did come out, it wasn't like it was something that would, you know, ruin their lives and make them a target per se. And I mean, everybody any person of color knows that the vast majority of white people are racist. It's just what it is. If you're a person of color and you've existed in this country, you've experienced it way more often than people realize. So the racism aspect is, you know, it's just commonplace. It's so commonplace, especially the farther south you go, where like people are just openly racist in a very polite way. I don't mind them being here. I sure don't want my daughter mixing with none of them or anything, but It is what it is. And you know, the homophobia thing, I mean, that shit's just, that's everywhere. So being called homophobic, even though you're not supposed to be, it's still not this thing that you're gonna have to worry about your safety over. But as soon as it comes to the pedophile thing, once you're outed as a pedo, you sort of, you know, you have to watch your back. You know that you know, you now have a target on your back, and if somebody does have the opportunity to fuck you up, they're going to, and they should. You know they should. That's why, again, you're so nervous. So this pedo thing is that tipping point. And the sexist thing, again, sexist, everybody's fucking sexist. It's we live in a society where they you know, like, sexism is a part of the design. They force us to pretend like women can play basketball just as good as men can, which is going to have the opposite effect. You know, it's going to make us be like, are you fucking kidding me? This is a joke. But it's still, that's something that you can shake, that won't stay with you. You can say, hey, I learned from my faults. You know, racism, homophobia, and sexism are things you can change about yourself. You don't have to stay those things. That's not an identity. If you can find a kid attractive once, you can find a kid attractive every time. That doesn't go away. And that's that difference there. That's that thing that's like, it's the fork in the road. And for many people, it's not something that can be overlooked. Trump's lost a lot of his supporters because of that. Because there are a lot of good people out there who might be racist and homophobic and sexist, but they're not going to let children be fucked with. And then there's the other side. There's the other side that continues to support this man because they can overlook the worst of the worst. He raped, like, he's a rapist. Trump is a rapist, a convicted rapist, sexual misconduct or whatever, but it was rape. We just couldn't prove penetration, even though the girl said it. And the Katie Johnson story, I mean, Katie Johnson is why we had COVID. Katie Johnson, Epstein, the whole kit and caboodle, it's all connected, and it exposes Israel, but see, Israel again is it's just another, like, distraction. It's another hurdle in the road that you have to get over to be able to get to the true goal. And unfortunately, fortunately, I mean, because it's on its way there, but what you see more often than not is people saying, you know, they oppose Israel or they oppose Zionism. You know, Zionism is the thing you're allowed to say, to a degree. But it's kind of well known that Zionism is sort of a supremacy thing. So to say that you oppose Zionism is moderately acceptable in our society. It's acceptable in everywhere but with them. You know, you say Zionist to them, they're going to be like, you hate Jews. Because they don't make a distinction. That's the thing. That's where you should pay attention. If they're not making the distinction, why do you? You know, you can't say to some friar and be like, hey, I hate these Zionists. And they're going to be like, yeah, me too. No. They're going to get all defensive and upset and, you know, start crying and tell you can't say that and all that other bullshit. But it's not about Zionism. I can't even, you know, necessarily point to the idea like Zionism is this. This is the book of Zionism. This is the the cult of Zionism. This is the, government liaison to Zionism. That doesn't exist. There's a government liaison to the Jewish people, but there's no government liaison to Zionism. And you have a bunch of goyim chosen by the chosen who consider themselves Zionists, like Biden. But that's just such a broad category that doesn't get to the heart of the problem, because at the heart of Zionism is Judaism. And that's what you need to understand. It's not a different cult that is consistently raping children in Hollywood than the one that's killing children in Palestine. It's the same cult. Eight likes, 12 viewers. Totally makes sense, right? Totally makes sense. Let's do one last reset, see what happens. This is usually the time of year where they sort of throttle me, but we'll see what happens if I come back. So, all of you pedos, please kill yourself. A fucktard. Who says fucktard? What the fuck does that even mean? Can you imagine that somebody called this person a fucktard at some point and it hurt their feelings, so now they say it to other people to try to hurt their feelings? Like, what a dumb fucking, friar thing to say. This is friar mentality. This is who they are. They can't have intelligent, reasonable arguments, so they desperately throw out stupid words. I'm trying to hurt your feelings. You're hurting my feelings talking about how disgusting my cult is. I'm going to try to hurt your feelings too, you fucktard. Anyway, come on back.